Hello and welcome to this video. I'm really excited about this one. I swear I say that nearly every time I start a video, but I am excited for this one because I'm sharing my 5-star reads of 2022, and there is 22 of them. So that worked out perfectly. So the first two books that I rated 5 stars, which I'm not going to talk too much about, is Harry Potter 1 and 2. We all know Harry Potter, but I don't really want to say anything about it. It's on this list and that's about it. But that was my first time reading it and I did enjoy it. But next I have one that I absolutely loved. It was A Beach Read by Emily Henry. It was amazing. It was amazing. I read this in January and it was like a great start to the year because it's a great book. If you didn't know what this is about, it's about two authors that in this small town, and they end up staying in houses next to each other, and then they decide to switch genres and like write each other's genre to write books, and then they fall in love. It's so good. It is so good. And it's also kind of like rivals to lovers, because I think they didn't really like each other when they were in university because they're both authors and I don't know, stuff like that. I also loved the aspect of like when they were researching the cult. I love cults. Obviously not like I don't love cults, but I love hearing about them. They're very interesting. So this had that in there, which I was like really surprised. I was like, wow. But anyway, this was amazing. I love Emily Henry. This is the second Emily Henry book I've read. I have not read Book Lovers yet. It is on my shelf, so I will get to that really soon. But I'm also so excited for Happy Place that's coming out this year. Literally can't wait. But then next, I read Legend Born. This is the one that's right up there with Six of Crows. I love it. I love it. Look at that cover. Stunning. I love this book. I'm going to do a reread super soon because I did get the second book for Christmas and I love it so much. So it's a King Arthur retelling and it's kind of like an urban fantasy. I think you would classify it as urban fantasy, yeah. But it's set in a university and it's kind of like Shadowhunter vibes, but if Shadowhunter was actually good, this is what you would get. They're fighting demons and then there are like Merlins, obviously, because it's like King Arthur. But it was so good. Literally amazing. But be sure to look up some trigger warnings before going into this book because there's like a fair few things that I can think of that might distress some readers. It's quite a thick one. I think it's like nearing 500 pages, is it? Oh wait, I don't think I've seen that before. Okay, it's 490 pages, so it's quite a thick book. But how did I not see this? There's like this whole chart of all the families and stuff in the back. Very interesting. I'm going to have a big look at that after this video because I never even noticed that. But amazing. Cannot recommend enough. If you love fantasy, or even if you don't, here's a good place to start because it's a great book. Next, I listened to Dial A for Aunties on an audiobook. It was so good. Literally amazing. One of my favourite mystery books of all time. Is it a mystery? It's not really a mystery. Why did I say that? I think people will classify this book as a cozy mystery, but I don't know where the mystery is. But anyway, it's about our main character, Madeline, who is going on a date and she accidentally kills her date. So then she gets the help of her mum and her aunties to try and cover up the murder whilst at a wedding. It's crazy, but it was so interesting, so funny. I loved all the characters. It was great. If you haven't read it and you're looking for something funny, there it is. Amazing. And then I read the second book because that came out in 2022 and it was just as good. 5 stars as well. I can't say too much about this because I don't want to give anything away, but there is like the mafia in it, which I thought was very funny. Like all of it is so funny. As I said before, characters are hilarious. I love it. I love it. Next I read Purple Hyacinth Season 1 and Season 2. This is on Webtoon. It is amazing. I read this after Lore Olympus and I feel like I like it more than Lore Olympus. Is Lore Olympus on this list? Lore Olympus isn't on this list. Probably because I like Purple Hyacinth better, because it is better. It is absolutely amazing. It's an enemies to lovers and it's like very crime heavy. There's murder and all sorts of stuff, but the characters are really funny as well. I love the art style. It's just so good. Oh, would definitely recommend. Definitely. So I read both the first and the second season. I really want to read the third one, but I don't know if it's all out yet, and I hate having to wait weekly to get new chapters. If you've never read a webcomic before, why not start here, because it's actually amazing. Next, I read the 3 books in the Tea Dragon Society series. So it was the Tea Dragon Society, the Tea Dragon Festival, and the Tea Dragon Tapestry. These are so cute. They're graphic novels, I think like aimed towards children. I don't know if they'd be classed middle grade or children's, but either way, they are great. I love the art style and the storyline. The little tea dragons, absolutely adorable. I love it. And it is so cute. I gave them all 5 stars because I feel like all the work that went into those books was just amazing. But next I read Air Awakens. I read this on my Kindle when I had Kindle Unlimited. I don't have it anymore, so I have not finished the series. I stopped at the 3rd book. It's based on like elemental magic, and our main character, she uses air. Woo, woo. And it reminded me a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender because there aren't many air users in this world as well. So I was like, wow, very interesting. But the first book was so good. I feel like this is a good book to start off with fantasy series because it does have like a very easy baseline to follow. Like elemental magic is very easy to grasp, I feel. So if you're a beginner to fantasy, why not try this one? Next, I read the Heartstopper series. So I read all 4 volumes and I gave them all the 5 stars because they're just that good. I loved it. I also read this on Webtoon for free. You can do that, but it's also good to buy them. I loved the show as well. I read the books before the show, like in preparation for the show, and I was like, yes, yes. Yes, it was really good. Next, I read No Hard Feelings. This was a book by an Australian author. This is set in Melbourne, which is great because I did have a goal in 2022 to read more books by Australians. Here is one that was absolutely amazing. This is like a contemporary book about our main character. What's her name? Penny. And it's like going through life, going through breakups, going through work dramas. It's just really interesting. I loved it. Also love the cover. Usually I don't like real people on the cover, but I love the colours of this. I love just seeing her life. Like, it was very drama filled, as I said, but very interesting. The next 5-star book that I have is I Kissed Shara Wheeler, which was amazing. I actually got sent this book and I was so happy about it because it was my most anticipated book of the year and it was so good. It definitely did not disappoint. I loved it. This is by Casey McQuiston, who also wrote One Last Stop and Red, White and Royal Blue, which Red, White and Royal, I can't say that, Red, White and Royal Blue is going to be, I think, a movie or a TV show really soon. Either way, I cannot wait about that. But going back to this was their first YA book and it was so good. Literally amazing. I did hear some people say though that they felt like it was very like classic YA. It was very similar to like John Green books, if you know, you know. But it's like kind of Paper Towns-ish. So it's about our main character Chloe, who teams up with Rory and Smith after they've all been kissed by Shara. And they get these letters and clues to try and find her because she's run away from home right before graduation. And it's really good. I love it. Would recommend. And I love the cover as well. Look at the little kisses on the spine. So cute. Next, I read an essay which was We Should All Be Feminists. It was really quick to read and I even made my mum read it, which is a lot because she doesn't read a lot of books, but she really enjoyed this one as well, so that was really good. But I think you can also find this as a TED Talk. I think this is just a written version of the TED Talk, so you can listen to it, I think. Next, The Love Hypothesis. I love it. I love it. I love The Love Hypothesis. It's amazing. And I was really nervous going into it because, as it says on the thing, it was popular on TikTok. And sometimes TikTok books aren't all that great. But this one was definitely an exception for that because I thought it was amazing. It's a fake dating, which, if you don't know, I love me some fake dating. And it's academic romance. So it's set in a university. They're both scientists. He's a professor She's like doing a master's or something, is she? PhD? Don't really know what that is, but it was really good. And actually, very interesting to know, this actually started off as like a Kylo Ren and Rey fanfic. Very interesting. Which you can see that because, what? Oh yeah! I just completely forgot that. But the main character's name is Adam, and he does look a lot like Adam Driver. So, kind of makes sense. And I guess she looks a lot like the actor who plays Rey. Definitely. Yeah, makes sense. But I loved it. It was so good. So good. And I did say in my anticipated releases for 2023 that I love Ali Hazelwood because of this book. And that is very much true. I still haven't read Love on the Brain yet, but I will get to it very soon. I love it. The next book that I read was Open Water. This was the very rare book that was by a male author. But it was amazing. It was so good. I think you would consider this like literary fiction, but it was so beautifully written. I loved it. And it was quite a thin book as well, so really easy to get through. And it was so good. If you haven't read it yet, definitely give it a go because it was so good. Literally, oh, love it. I borrowed this from the library, so I don't have a physical copy, but it was that good that I want to get myself a physical copy. Yep. And the last book on this list is A Torch Against the Night, which is the second book in the Emperor and the Ashes series. I really enjoyed that series, and this book was definitely my favourite. The main characters are on the run, and I was like, yes, yes, we're running, and it was so good. But I can't really say too much about this, obviously because it's the second in a series, but the series overall was amazing. I think it's considered a fantasy dystopian, but the characters are like, wow, they are absolutely wild. Oh, the Commandant, absolutely crazy. Crazy as, but very interesting. This series was actually the last series that I read this year. So that was the 22 books that I gave a 5 stars in 2022. If you found this video interesting, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss another video from me. And I hope you now found some new books to add to your TBR because these are some of my favourites and for good reason. So maybe read them, yeah? But make sure to comment your 5-star reads of 2022. Would love to know what they are so I can also read them. But I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next week. Goodbye.